If you haven't tried Uncle Nearest Rye, you may be holding out until you get a sip from someone or hear a good review. I know that's what I did. What are my thoughts? Well,
Listen.
in order to talk Uncle Nearest whiskey, you have to tell the story. You have to tell the story of Fawn Weaver, who serves as the CEO of Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey, a company she founded in 2016 after finding out about the story of Nathan Green. More on him soon. Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey is the fastest growing American whiskey brand in US history, the best-selling African-American founded spirit brand of all time, and Weaver is the first African-American woman to head a major spirits brand, and also the first American spirit brand with an all-female executive team. That's a lot. That's a lot of accolades. If that wasn't enough, let's get into who Nathan Green was. Shout out to the Three Drinkers website who captured the story of Nathan Green so well. I definitely had to bite a little from them because I just was looking for this history, wanted to get it right for you guys. So more than 160 years ago in the hills above Lynchburg in Tennessee, there was a farm owned by a young preacher named Dan Call that still stands today. Now, this is the interesting thing. You know, I went to Oaklore, we got a pastor that's over there distilling. Even with this story, we have a reverend. So it's really interesting how there's these different ministers in history who've been distilling, monks doing beer, all this good stuff. All right, that's a side note and a tangent. Reverend Call had a side hustle down the road on his farm. It was a small whiskey distillery which made a silky smooth maple sweet whiskey that was highly regarded by all that tasted it. The man who distilled the whiskey was a black slave named Nathan Green, known affectionately as Uncle Nearest, and he brought with him a special technique of charcoal filtering that he had learned back home when cleaning water in West Africa. Now, this method of filtering whiskey through sugar maple tree charcoal became known as the famous Lincoln method, and it's still used today. At some time in the 1850s, a young white boy came to Reverend Call asking for work. The Reverend took him on and gave him chores, but the boy became increasingly fascinated by what was going on down the road at the distillery. Eventually, after begging his master, the boy named Jasper was introduced to Nathan, Uncle Nearest Green, who was told to teach him what he knew. Now, a natural entrepreneur, Jasper so believed in this whiskey that he started selling it as fast and as far and wide as he could. Now, December 6, 1865 came around and the 13th Amendment was finally passed. Uncle Nearest was a free man. Not long after, Jasper bought the distillery and named it after himself, though he didn't use his given name. He preferred what the locals called him, not Jasper Daniel, but Jack Daniel. He asked Nathan to be his very first master distiller, a position which he happily accepted. The men worked together until Nathan retired. Now, Nathan's story was lost for a long time, and we can only imagine why. However, a new distillery was built just down the road from Jack Daniel's, where Nathan's descendants work today. Quite rightly, it was named after the man who turned out to be the true founding father of Tennessee whiskey, Nathan Green, Uncle Nearest. So both distilleries still enjoy a warm bond formed by the shared histories. You can look up all the interviews with Fawn Weaver, and she talks about this because one of the things that she did not want to do was really kind of usurp the name, but she's really in tight with the family, both families, both the Greens and Daniels. So that is very cool to hear. Now, there are 3 Uncle Nearest whiskeys that you could definitely try, so seek them out and please tell the story. They have the 1884 small batch whiskey, 1856 premium aged whiskey, 1820 Nearest Green single barrel edition. Now, I've tried the 1884 and 1856, both are great. 1820, it's one of those things where on the website, as soon as it goes up for sale, you have to just have your stuff ready to go. and credit card information or use a bot or something. It goes so quickly. So I definitely plan on visiting the distillery so that I can get a taste of that 1820. I've heard great things. Today we're talking Master Blender Victoria Edie Butler's latest Uncle Nearest Rye. This was a lofty experiment that worked. The result is this 100% rye mash bill matured and used Uncle Nearest barrels before being bottled at 100 proof. Now, bottled at 100 proof, bottled in bond. It's not bottled in bond because this isn't a bourbon. This is 100% rye mash bill. So it doesn't meet the bourbon standard of 51% corn, but it definitely keeps with their tradition of creating some of the most awarded whiskeys in the world. This rye whiskey is, well, let's get into it. What do I think? First off, shout out to Black Bourbon Society. I'm using that nosing glass this time. On the nose, this is the thing. So I was hanging out with my friends. We kind of just had a bring your own whiskey kind of night with the fellas, just something that you could sip and try everybody's different bottles. This bad boy came out and this is why I had to get it. I'm not a rye guy myself. However, one of the things that I got on the nose automatically that really attracted me to this was butterscotch. I still get that butterscotch, but definitely because this is rye, I can start to smell the rye, a little bit of that pepper. It definitely has this like almost kind of toast, and I'm not quite sure what kind of sandwich it is, but it's a toasted rye bread. Pretty delicious. Let's get into it. Let me see if this is what I remember it being. Cheers. Yeah, so it's funny because with the fellas, we talked about how my friend had this magic bottle. I immediately knew that it would be good in an old fashioned, and it is absolutely delicious. I don't know how you like your old fashions, but a lot of times I tend to go with a great rye, and I think this is a great rye to make with your old fashioned. Immediately, you do get, man, it's like these delicious spices that kind of comes up, and it's not too overpowering. For some reason, I get this sweet kind of honey flavor. I'm not sure if it's supposed to do that with 100% rye, but I mean, my palate is my palate, so that's what I'm getting. I'm getting a little bit of honey, not that butterscotch, but definitely on the finish, on the back end, that's where that rye really hits me in terms of that toast flavor. Yeah, this is good. I mean, it doesn't have that fire finish at the end. It doesn't attack the back of your throat, which is nice. That's what I like. And sometimes with different ryes, for me at least, with these spices, it can get a little bit spicy. But again, let's do this one more time just to make sure. Yeah, this is really interesting because with Uncle Nearest, I think one of the things, especially being a lower proof, right, 100 proof, none of their whiskeys really give you that attack on your throat, and so that, in terms of the finish, is really nice. I like that. I'm not a huge rye drinker, but there is some complexity to this rye that I really enjoy. Again, on the nose, getting some of that butterscotch, getting the rye, the baking spices, and again, that toast that finish, there's actually something there. So I highly recommend you check out Uncle Nearest Rye. Again, I'm not a rye aficionado, so perhaps you all out there who are, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to hear what you think of Uncle Nearest Rye. Definitely recommend it in an old fashioned, and it is fun to drink straight. All right, I leave you as I always do with two statements. My father-in-law said, "You drink the drink, don't let the drink drink you." I like to say, why idolize something that has the possibility of bringing death and destruction when you can worship the one who gives life to the full? Whichever statement resonates with you, please drink responsibly, and I look forward to seeing you right here next time.